before the Chinese coronavirus Covid-19 is at long last crushed through the progression of time or a fix. The truth is, a lot more individuals will kick the bucket. No one is insusceptible to its belongings, however it tends to be deadlier to the immunocompromised and the old. Since the infection started sickening individuals in China in 2019, there have been a great many recorded passings, and a portion of those individuals who kicked the bucket have been famous people, entertainers, legislators, and the like. While each demise is a catastrophe, these 10, introduced in no specific request, are prominent individuals for what they gave society during their lifetimes. And like such a large number of others, they will be remembered fondly. In case you're an enthusiast of bluegrass music, chances are the updates on Joe Diffie's passing hit you especially hard. Diffie was a cultivated down-home music artist who discharged a huge amount of hit singles throughout the years. From 1990 to 2004, Diffie discharged 35 singles highlighted on the Billboard Hot Country Song Graph. 5 of those singles rose to number 1, including Home, If the Devil Danced, In Empty Pockets, Third Rock from the Sun, Pickup Man, and Greater Than the Beatles. He discharged 7 studio collections, a Christmas collection, and a greatest hits album. Diffie reported throughout his marketing expert that he tried positive for COVID-19 on March 27. He stayed in basic condition from the malady for 2 days, and he kicked the bucket on March 29 at 61 years old. He died in Nashville, Tennessee, which is a city profoundly established in the bluegrass music scene. Diffie is the primary down-home music star to surrender to the sickness, and his passing was noted by his friends with genuine posts on Twitter, Instagram, and other web-based life stages. Fanatics of the hit arrangement Top Chef are in grieving after the passing of observed Indian-American chef Floyd Cardoz. The capable culinary expert was the victor of Top Chef Masters in 2011 and was notable for his numerous pioneering raids in the realm of gourmet food. Notwithstanding his time before the cameras for Top Chef Masters, Cardoz was the official culinary specialist at New York City's Powala and Tabla restaurants. He had practical experience in the merging of Indian flavors with Western food of all kinds. Cardoz likewise held the respect of being a 4-time James Beard Award-chosen one, and he was additionally the writer of 2 cookbooks. Cardoz made a trip from Mumbai to New York through Frankfurt toward the beginning of March. He before long became sick and tried positive for COVID-19. He passed on from inconveniences of the infection on March 25 at an emergency clinic in New Jersey. Cardoz was 59 years of age at the hour of his passing. He deserts his better half, business director, Barca, and their 2 children, Justin and Peter. In spite of the fact that she might not have been also known to individuals outside the universe of news, Maria Mercader was a main impetus in news and revealing for CBS, where she worked for over 3 decades. Mercader started her expert vocation in 1987 as a page at CBS. She moved from page obligation to the system's news program with CBS NewsPath, where he delivered different pieces conveyed by means of CBS associate stations. She kept on delivering through the demise of Princess Diana, 9/11, and a lot increasingly noteworthy events. Mercader won an Emmy Award for her work as a maker, and she climbed the positions at CBS to turn into the Director of Talent Strategy in 2016. Her work there enhanced the working environment and assisted with encouraging greater inclusion with different minority gatherings, including the Asian American Journalists Association and numerous others. For over 2 decades, Mercader battled malignant growth and different diseases. And when she went to an emergency clinic in New York City for treatment, she capitulated to COVID-19 at that area and died on March 29 at 54 years old. Terrence McNally was an unmistakable dramatist, screenwriter, and librettist, who was regularly portrayed as the troubadour of American theater. He was viewed as one of the best contemporary writers of the American theater. and he earned that qualification through 56 years of work in the field. He got the desired Tony Award for Best Play for 2 of his works, and the Tony Award for Best Book of a Musical for another 2. He likewise earned an Emmy, 2 Guggenheim Fellowships, and a few other Performance Center honors all through his career. McNally's works spread over 6 decades, and they included Broadway plays, off-Broadway plays, films, and practically everything without exception he could get his hands on. He is likely most popular for Kiss of the Spider-Woman and Jazz. However, he composed many plays, dramas, and theater pieces. His work is played far and wide, and his passing was a hit to each and every individual who cherishes the theater. On March 24, he died following inconveniences from COVID-19 of an emergency clinic in Florida. He was 81 at the hour of his passing. Princess Maria Theresa of Bourbon-Parma was a French-Spanish individual from the House of Bourbon-Parma, which is a cadet part of the Spanish royal family. She consumed her time on earth attempting to advance social causes as an extremist, which earned her the epithet Red Princess. She was a monarchist, and she unfortunately holds the differentiation of being the principal individual from an imperial family beyond words. COVID-19. Conceived in 1933 in Paris, Princess Maria Theresa spent her childhood in different palaces and private schools. She went to the Paris Sorbonne University, where she got a doctorate in Hispanic studies. She followed this with another doctorate in political sociology from the Complutense University of Madrid. She was an extremist in the territories of ladies' privileges and other significant issues. On March 27, Princess Maria Theresa passed on at 86 years old from entanglements welcomed on by COVID-19. She was the primary regal to bite the dust from the illness. However, she wasn't the just one tainted, as Prince Charles combat the infection with just gentle manifestations. He stayed in self-confinement for a week and luckily under. People may not quickly perceive the name Nishom Wooden, yet it's not on the grounds that he wasn't well known. It's because of individuals being progressively acquainted with his drag sovereign persona, Mona Foot. Wooden built up his drag persona in the late 1980s, and he acknowledged RuPaul as an early tutor in his initial drag profession. RuPaul helped him monstrously by showing him how to apply cosmetics, which helped him land a job as Mona Foot in an off-Broadway creation called My Pet Homo. Curiously, he concocted the persona while filling in as an administrator in the Manhattan men's attire division at Patricia Field's boutique. Wooden later showed up as Mona Foot in the film Flawless, where he additionally played out the melody of a similar name with the ones. Wooden eliminated his Mona Foot character in his later life, and keeping in mind that he tested positive for HIV, he had an imperceptible viral burden. That contamination didn't seem, by all accounts, to be the reason for his demise, as he kicked the bucket because of confusions from COVID-19 in New York City on March 23. He was 50 at the hour of his passing. Emmanuel Njoki Manu Dibango was a Cameroonian performer who was notable in the realm of jazz, as he was a conspicuous lyricist and saxophonist. Dibango's profession spread over 6 decades, comprising of various hits. However, he is likely most popular for his 1972 single, Soul Makasa. That hit would later be inspected by Michael Jackson, Kanye West, and a lot increasingly unmistakable performers all around the globe. Dibango's profession started at 15 years old after he moved to Paris soon after World War II. He played saxophone and piano and immediately turned into a standard in the European jazz circuit. He turned into a worldwide sensation with Soul Makasa, which was initially intended to be a B-side to a hymn he wrote in festivity of Cameroon's achievement in facilitating the 1972 Africa Cup of Nations football competition. Updates on Dibango's disease went ahead his Facebook page, which noted he was hospitalized with a contamination from COVID-19 on March 18. His Facebook page affirmed the next week that he died on March 24 from the infection at 86 years old. Italy is one of the hardest-hit countries where COVID-19 is concerned, and it appears no one is sheltered from disease. Lucia Bose was a conspicuous entertainer in her local Italy, where she rose to notoriety during the time of Italian neorealism, which commenced during the 1950s. She initially worked in a bread shop, however, in 1947. She won the second release of the Miss Italia Magnificence Challenge, which propelled her vocation as an on-screen character. She featured in a few champion jobs through the mid-1950s. Cresting in 1955 preceding reaching an end, she experienced passionate feelings for a Spanish matador during the recording of Muerte de un Ciclista. She picked to surrender her vocation to raise a family. Inevitably, she came back to acting and featured various jobs, with her latest work was in 2007. She is the mother of acclaimed Spanish artist Miguel Bosé and was an all-around regarded entertainer for a mind-blowing duration. On March 23, she died from pneumonia convoluted by a COVID-19 contamination. She was 89 at the hour of her passing. Daniel Azoulay was a comic book craftsman and instructor who was notable and regarded all through Brazil. His work was profoundly respected in the craftsmanship network, and he is likely most popular for his kids' arrangement, Turma do Lam Lam. Azoulay was conceived in Rio de Janeiro and brought up in Ipanema, an area situated in the southern pieces of the city. At 21 years old, he made a paper strip called Capitão Cipo, and only 5 years after the fact, he propelled Turma accomplish Lam Lam. His work assisted with encouraging the kids experiencing childhood during the 1980s about nature, workmanship, structure, and numerous different subjects. He ventured to every part of the globe, displaying his work and giving talks. He directed workmanship workshops with a great many youngsters and grown-ups, and in 2009, he facilitated an attracting class online to help much more individuals become familiar with his art. Azoulay kicked the bucket in his old neighborhood of Rio de Janeiro at 72 years old. He was hospitalized for about 14 days for leukemia treatment, and keeping in mind that there, he was tainted with COVID-19, which caused entanglements, taking his life. For most VIPs, their popularity is built up during their lifetime, yet for a few, that differentiation is just allowed after death. That is unquestionably valid for Dr. Li Wenlang, a Chinese ophthalmologist who worked at Wuhan Central Hospital in China. In December 2019, Wenlang started cautioning his associates about a potential episode of a malady that looked like SARS. That infection was later named COVID-19, making Dr. Wenlang the main doctor to raise the ready that the sickness was going to cause issues. Dr. Wenlang basically turned into an informant where the infection was concerned, and he paid for it. On January 3, he was scolded by the Wuhan police for offering bogus remarks on the internet. He returned to work and later gotten the infection from a patient. Dr. Wenlang died on February 7 at 33 years old. He was after death absolved and offered a serious expression of remorse for the reprobation he got by the Communist Party of China. In the event that his partners had tuned into him, there likely wouldn't have been any names to put on this rundown. Remember to wash your hands, stay away from others, and recollect that we will traverse this